back at the sink, and we're actually in telephoto mode to start this video off. So let me get my penguins here, and we will zoom out and put them away. That's about as far into special effects as I'm ever going to go. Anyway, so we got this stone. Came in today. Literally, I just unboxed it like a second ago. Here we have this. This is the wrapper. So what is it? It's a 10K. It's a Gouken Arata, okay, from Naniwa. And some people, you know, think that these are the new Choceras. And you know, I think I said something like that in the beginning when they first came out myself, because that's how they were built. And so I think what Naniwa says now is these are the evolution of Chocera. So Choceras turned into professional. Professional is exported over there. In Japan, you still get Chocera, but only on basis. Now these are out, and you know, they say evolution of Chocera. So I wasn't able to do a real side-by-side with a Pro or Chocera stone, and it kind of felt like a Chocera. Then I was able to get my hands on the Pro actually, and they are different stones. So it's not like these are baby Choceras, not to me, okay? I know some vendors call them that, and some people adopted that, and they want to like throw that word around. Okay, so with the 1K, I can tell you it's not the same as a 1K Chocera. It's just not, right? This just came, so I don't know, and I don't have a 10K Chocera to compare to. But out of the box, edges feel good, you know. A little bit of a ding here, not too bad. Color is uniform, looks pretty good. So let's get some water on it. Oh. Alright. What have you changed there? Alright. My Toma 140. This is my Toma combo that's worn. That's a worn 140, by the way. I have a crisp 140, but I don't plan on needing it. Let that soak for a minute. All right. Get some of the water off the surface. Dry a little bit. I have my Starrett straight edge. This is what I check and confirm flatness with. Honestly, not too bad. Really not too bad. If I was doing something not critical, I could use it like this right out of the box. I do this on a lot of my synths. It stops me from using the wrong side. So you're like, Keith, why are you soaking it? Well, I'm not really soaking it. I mean, yes, it's in water, so if you want to get like Webster's dictionary specific, sure, it's soaking. But it just came here from Japan. I'm sure it's a little dry. Let me get some water running on the plate. So this is a very worn 140 side. In fact, I need some room, and we're doing a video, so let me move this out of the way so I have some elbow room to work here. Let me move this so it's on camera nicely. Normally I put this over more, but for the sake of the video, let me see what we got here. Flaps easy, very easy. And my pencil, I'm gonna do all right. If you're doing grids, that's really, you know, that's fine. You don't have to get the ruler out and do like little 1 centimeter squares. When you go forward, you have to be careful. It's easy to overshoot, and then you do that, you can crack the end of your stone. And so you can see there's a little bit of outage. Can't really see too well. Let me see if I can get the a little bit better. Yeah. You may think I'm using pressure, I'm not. So we still have some pencil. Just a little bit left right over here. All right, so the grid is gone. Let me do a check. I'm going to wipe the water off. You can't check flatness with water on the stone. You got to dry it off. Alright, so it's flatter, but it's not flat. And that's the lesson in grids. People will tell you, oh, just put a pencil grid down and then lap it off and it's flat. Well, it's flatter, but it's not flat. And it's not flat enough for me to want to lap some more. So there's that. So I'm going to do a little bit more on camera. And I'm going to take a look. So people are like, oh, so why'd you buy this? Well, I wanted to check it out because these stones, these Arata stones, intrigued me when they showed up. And as much as I really don't use high grit synths all that often, when I use them, I want a good one. So I'm going to use a Warn 400. Chamfer the edges and the corners. On the bottom first. Then I want to make sure I don't have anything that feels like sharp. So I do a little bit of a roll over the edge. I'm going to do the same with the top. This is an easy to lap stone. And I'm not really seeing it like take on like a ton of water. And the 1K took in a lot of water, it really did. More than I wanted it to. It wasn't like a king, don't get me wrong, but that type of thing is important to me because I don't really want to have to soak anything. It drives me nuts. And this right here feels kind of sketchy. Yeah, it's a little better. It's a little smoother. I think what I'm going to wind up doing, though, is going at this with some 600 after I finish lapping. Stone has a little bit of like a sort of what I call a chalky nature to it, and the chamfering is not leaving the edge how I really want it. It's better, but there seems to be a tendency to create a sharp edge. It's a little more difficult to roll over than, like, say, with a Superstone. So what do we got for feel? Right? Don't worry, I'm going to do some honing on it in the second part of the video. This is just getting it started. Let's take a little. This is a 1200 Atoma. I feel the slurry is really wispy. Very, very thin. Very, very fine. Feels really good. You know, people are like, oh, why don't you use diamond plate to raise slurry? Well, Atomas are better. They're not as prone to losing diamonds. But I don't know if you can see on this plate, like the surface is, here, let me clean this up a little bit. And you probably can't see it so well. I'm going to try and roll it in the light. You can see that the surface is not really all that even, and yeah, there's a couple of bald spots. Not many, but there's a couple. So if you're using this to raise slurry and it pops off a piece of a diamond, goes into your slurry, and you're finishing a razor you work for 2 hours on, it's going to kill your work and you have to redo it. It's not going to be okay. There's no chance of that being okay. The only way it could be okay is if the blade doesn't hit the diamond. You know Murphy and his laws? I know them all too well. Yeah, I'm going to have to roll these off with sandpaper, because no matter what I do with the diamond plate, it seems to want to come up. That's a little better. So the stone has a little bit of a brittle nature to it. That's good. Okay. So slurry feels fine. Very, very fine. Finer than I thought it would. The stone feels nothing at all like a Superstone. So that's excellent. It has Chaucera tendencies, because I had a 10K Cho. And now I'm not going to go and spend like $300 on another one to do a comparison. Spent enough on getting this shipped over from Japan. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was on sale, so I got a deal. But so far, this is like looking good. Now, my regular 10K is my Shapton glass, right? And now this is a brilliant stone. This is really a formidable weapon. It's one of their better glass stones, I think. It's underrated. A lot of people just seem to like glance over it, but I think this is a superb stone. It's can replace an 8K easily. It can replace an 8K and a 12K in a synthetic progression if I'm going to finish on a natural. It's that good. It's nearly shave ready in some ways. So it's an advanced edge compared to a really good 8K. And it's right there neck and neck with, you know, most of your 12K stuff. You know, it's hard to say. So, you know, take that in stride. Don't like write it down and say, oh, Keith said, because, you know, a lot goes on. But I do a lot with that stone. It's really nice. So this is looking good. I'm really, really happy about this stone so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end right now. I'm going to finish lapping it, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do some honing on it. And I'm going to do a side-by-side and like talk to you about what I'm feeling between the Shapton and this, all right? Okay, stay tuned. Well, all right, here we are, back for round 2. Got a couple of things out here to play with today. Got some penguins. It's their second appearance in this video. Put them over there. All right, so what do we got? We got the 10K. So now it's flat. And then I rounded off all of the top edges. For some reason or another, the texture of the stone lent itself to sort of developing a an abrupt edge no matter how I tried to roll off with the diamond plate. So I used some 600 wet dry, still got it here, left some streaks on it, you can see that, right? Whatever. And now the surface is good, right? It feels really nice, you know. I'm excited to try this. So what I'm going to do today, now with this on camera, and you guys watching, I got a couple of razors. I got this one, right, which is, I believe, a Sheffield. Feels like a Sheffield, looks like a Sheffield, has like what looks like Sheffield hallmarks. I could be wrong, but whatever. It's a blade. I got that. Then I have this, definitely Solingen, one of those improved eagle things, right? Nice etch on this one. All right, got a couple of other stones out here. I'm going to put this in water for the moment. I have a 4K and I have a 10K. So, because these are both basically, you know, shaving edges, I'm going to drop down to 4K, see what that does to the bevel, and then I'm going to jump to the new 10K, see what it looks like. Jump back to the 4K, zero out that 10K work, and then put the other 10K under that blade and see if I can get a read. See what the polish is like. All right. So, like, this isn't a review. This is just, I got the stone. I want to take a look at it. I want to talk about it on camera. Some people have, you know, I do videos on a lot of stones and like, hey, thanks for the review. It's really like kind of not a review. I mean, it's a review, but it's not a review in the sense that anything I say here today is like written in stone. Okay. It's a first look, and that's it. I don't really pass judgment on stones until I hone on them like a lot. You know? What is that? That's from this light over here. Let's see if I can minimize that. Anyway, okay, so glass stone. This is the gray version. Has a little bit of a softer texture. I really like this stone a whole lot. So I'm going to start off with this Sheffield guy. It's not a great blade. It's not like, you know, some custom fancy whatever. You know, plain old carbon steel. Daily driver type of thing, if you want to look at it that way. I moved the camera in a little bit. I don't know if it's going to work, but I was hoping maybe the mic being a little closer might pick up some of the sounds on the stone. Maybe you could like possibly hear some of that audible feedback. I have another 4K out here also. I don't think I'm going to need to bring it into the picture, but I'll leave that option open. And that's part of what I do. I bounce around different stones, different systems, different styles, see how things work, see how things play together. There's too much like finite bullshit in all of these sharpening milieus. There's a lot of generalizations get passed around, a lot of things get said, information gets cherry-picked, taken out of context, used for the sake of confirmation bias, and people like to run around the internet regurgitating half stories, half truths, you know, and you know, to me, when I started out, all of that stuff initially wasn't so very visible, but it was visible very quickly, and it just sort of like angered me because it was like, why can't I get a straight answer out of people, you know? Don't give me a finite judgment if you really haven't done the legwork to prove what you're claiming, you know? There's a guy right now in a forum. He's like arguing because I insist that if I sharpen this blade and I create a burr on whatever stone I'm working on, I'm telling everyone I do this. I sharpen that knife, and taking the burr off is as easy as it is with any of my carbon steel knives. And the guy's like, you know, oh no, stainless, it's harder to blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, that's why they don't get sharp and blah, 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 blah. And all this stuff. And I'm like, he's quoting stuff from a forum, and I'm giving actual real life experience facts. It's like taking all the bullshit component out of it. Anybody looking in on that conversation is going to be like left without, you know, the ability to discern right from wrong, because it's confusing. The bullshit is confusing. I used to talk about this with Nelson all the time. We both got sick and tired of it, actually. It's just, you know, only so much bullshit you can endure. So I have, you know, this new 10K. It's in the water over there. Yeah, it's wet enough. And I'm going to find something out about it today, but I'm not going to know all about it for a while. You know? I used to laugh. There was this guy from Long Island. He thought he was a honing Mac or some shit. And he got a stone on a Friday, and on Monday he was like a complete expert in not only that stone, but, you know, every stone in the genre. And he starts off with, okay, I got it all figured out now. What did you hone fucking 500 razors over the weekend? Yeah, so, you know, when you're reading what people write, don't be afraid to challenge things that don't seem correct, you know, because, you know, no one's going to be an expert on anything that quickly. It's just not going to happen. All right? So, here we go. You know what? Let me take a look at my bevel just for the sake of whatever. Yep. That's what that 4K does. All right. So now I have a visual on it. Okay. First impression. The stone feels dry. Doesn't feel like a wet stone. Doesn't feel slick right now. Now remember, hasn't been used. It's just been lapped. It got lapped on a very fine 400 Atoma, but I wouldn't call that whatever. I don't think the surface is optimal. I have a bit more swarf here than I'm happy about, but I have shaving on this blade. This isn't like recently honed or anything. There's a lot of work on it, so I guess that's to be expected, but still it's not heavy, you know, and it's just surface, it's not ground, but it's not like, you know, burnouts at National Speedway. Alright, so let me take a look-see. Wiping it off with some paper towel. Well, that's pretty impressive. Very good polish. I would put that in the ballpark with a Nani 12K Superstone, maybe a hair under, but I would have to do a side-by-side comparison to be sure. But, you know, I have some wear on this blade from shaving, so that's kind of confusing. It probably would have been like in my best interests to start with a fresh blade, but you know what? I didn't really feel like doing a complete honing. I think I can read this well enough. You know, that's a really nice polish. All right. So let me just do a little something here. All right. So being able to like have ideas and take action on the fly, unplanned. That's a large part of my honing. It's like, let me throw it down to 600. Sorry, I'm not gonna like show you everything. I have to move everything to do that. But you can see I have a little lapping thing going on under this sink bridge. So I did a quick hit of the working surface on this 10K Arata on some 600 wet dry that's been used, so it's a little worn, you know. Let's see what the feel is like. Oh, it's nicer. I don't know if you all just saw that mosquito fly through here. But I saw him, and he bit me yesterday when I was doing the video, so if all of a sudden there's some commotion and you hear crashing, it's me getting revenge. I used to just run water on it and not dunk it, but it like leaves a spot on the stone. Alright, so I'm back to the 4K. Somebody recently asked me, he said, well, he didn't ask, he made a comment. He's like, I had a dream that he showed us microscope photos of all these edges and all this stuff, and it's like, and I have a microscope, and I kind of stay away from it because I see how it's misused in the sharpening communities. It's like weaponized, you know, and a big mistake. People think they see, you know, if I post a picture of a stone, an edge done on a particular stone, and you know, I do this 2000x shot, and it's all like, you know, Gucci and dynamic and what have you. Everybody thinks every blade looks like that all the time. It's like a constant. It's not like that, okay? Different scopes, different lighting, different razors, different people honing, different starting edge condition, different steel types. If you're talking about naturals and J-nats, it's like, people are like, oh, my Nakayama edge. You don't have a Nakayama edge. You have a Nakayama, you made an edge on it. Nakayama is a location in Japan. It's not like a scientific type of edge. So I stay away from that. And I want people to get the idea that you need to have microscopes to hone, because that's bullshit. This is what I use most of the time, that loop, right? It's always out here on the sink. Now it's wet. And it's an old Schneider 4X loop from some type of like film processing equipment, some sort of analyzer, I don't know what. Showed up one day. I don't even know where it came from. It might have been from my grandfather. I don't know. Alright, so this has been very 4K'd out. So I know that nothing left from that 10K work on the Arata is left. It's all gone. Just want to do like a quick lap. Something I do not like to do is to let swarf embed on a cint. I don't, well, any stone, but if I have a cint that's got swarf on it, then I'm going to put it off to the side. I like to give it a quick lap to clear it so it dries clean. Now it's a little nuts, right? It's just me. Alright, so this I don't have to dunk because it's been getting used. So this is the 10K glass stone. This is such a good stone. You know, it's a glass stone, so it's like very thin material, you know. 5 millimeters of abrasive, so how much of that are you really going to get to use? 3 millimeters? And then you have glass, which, you know, if you bang it, it chips. You drop it, it cracks. It's a liability. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Stone's good. If it cracked, I would buy a new one. Can't say that about every stone. Certainly not with every glass stone. Again, you see swap on here, but it was the initial. It's not heavy, it's light. Kind of mellowed out right away. More swart than I want to see. But that edge is a little tattered from use. Alright, so let's take a look, shall we? Wipe her down. Get the loop out. It's still too wet. Gotta have a dry bevel. You can't, there's water on there, forget about it. You can't get a good read, good visual read. Okay, so let me wipe this off again. Having a day. Shut up. Okay. All right, I'm going to say that this polish is a little higher. And I'll be honest, I kind of expected that because this is like a really killer stone. It's expensive. It's one of those things. I was going to do the Sheffield, excuse me, this. You want to see me do that too? Let me give you a read on the Solingen. Okay, I'll do that. In for a penny, in for a pound, right? Judging by the swarf that I see on the 10Ks, I'm thinking maybe do myself a favor and rehone both of these. Yeah, you know what? I can feel it. This needs to be honed. I mean, I could probably shave with it, no problem. In fact, I just did, actually, with this last week. The other one, maybe a little sooner. Or more recently, I don't know. Okay. Might just pop off. See what we got. I may not do the toggle over to the shafting. You know what? I am. I'm going to do it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the shafting right on top of this without going to the 4K, and I'm going to see if the polish comes up that way. That's actually a nice addition to the process here. A little bit of swarf, not too bad. The other one had more. Okay, I think that's good. Wipe this puppy down. See what we got. All right. Very nice look. I'm actually looking at the spine wear and the bevel at the same time, and I think this took a slightly higher polish than the Sheffield. Seems that way. Clean it off. Let's see if we can bump it up a notch with this Shafton glass stone. It would be like, you know, a minor miracle if I wasn't able to. It's about done. You know, wipe her off. All right. Oh yeah. Polish is pumped. Polish on the bevel is not indicative of condition at the apex. Okay. It's an interesting read. It's a piece of information to add into the equation as you're like doping out a stone and you're like looking at things. We pile all this information up, and at the end of the day, what matters is, or how did the blade that I honed to shave with do for me? I have a sneaking suspicion that if I honed, let's say for the sake of argument, 1K, 4K, 6K, and 10K, with either of these two blades, but let's just say the Solinger for the sake of argument. Let's say I did that progression and ended here, and I'm going to think, you know, I'm going to say I should be able to manage a shave there. And then if I did the same thing on the glass stone, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to like the edge better there. Now, I have a lot more stone with this Naniwa, and that's important for longevity. 10K is not where I finish, so I don't need the finest 10K. This is like a superfluous stone for me. I bought it on a lark to check it out, and I'm impressed with it, but I don't finish on it. You know, I could go 6 to a 12K or an 8K, or I could go like 6K to a cuticle, or whatever. I could do any number of things. But, all right, this was about half the price of this. Okay, it doesn't have glass on it. Feel is good. I think right now, today, I enjoyed the feedback better here, but I want to work on this some more before I make that like a definite. You know, overall, I put them in the same class. This edges it out a little bit today with polish, but down the road, who knows? Maybe this just becomes like my high-end knife edge, you know. Right now I have Snow White over there. If I want to put a knife on an 8K, I have Snow White to do it on. It's like a little bit overkill for kitchen cutlery and my needs, but anyway. So listen, that's just like a first look. It's not a review, right? I mean, technically, I guess it's some sort of review, but there's a lot for me to know yet. And it's going to take time and work. But anyway, I'm glad I got the time to show this stone to you guys. I don't hear a lot about it, so I figured maybe it would be of interest. If it wasn't of interest, the stone, then maybe some of what I talked about was, and if not, well, maybe I'll try to do better next time, or whatever, maybe not. I don't know. Listen, I had fun. I hope you had fun. This is all about having fun. That's all any of this is about. Anybody trying to turn this into like Mortal Kombat, stay away from those people. Keep this fun. Get your stones out, make some edges, have some good shaves. Until next time, take care. Talk to you soon.